Draw your attention, as you just mentioned, Bangladesh has been transformed from a test case of development into a developing country recognized by the UN and the World Bank, IMF, and the
Yes.
Europe think tanks. So unfortunately, the country has become a state of mob violence, and is captured by even the Muhammad Yunus, so-called Nobel laureate, once was a ambassador of Nobel Peace Prize. Now,
Indeed.
unfortunately, is backing by the extremists, and extremists captured, destroyed other religious people's temples, other religious worship, institutions, and killed them, and persecuted them. So even we raised the issues in Geneva UN headquarters. So how do you underscore these issues? Backing by the extremist, by Yunus regime, and it's like no one is safe.
Well, my fear is that the detailed knowledge about these developments in Europe is lacking. Maybe I know a little bit more than the average European about these issues, but to some extent this also applies to myself, that it's not so easy to follow all these developments in detail, but when you hear about the violence, when you hear about the intolerance, atrocities against different groups of the population, then it's a great concern. And let's be honest, in the last 2 years, we have also been witnessing the tragic developments in Gaza. And it's also true that in the case of Gaza, different European countries behaved differently. Some governments expressed concern, some governments tried to put pressure on Israel in order to stop the genocide. Other countries were maybe not indifferent, but more lenient, and tried even to help the government of Netanyahu to carry out all the atrocities in Gaza against the Palestinian population. And it's not only Gaza, but also the West Bank, where violence has been very often just tolerated by various European governments. And so in a way, Bangladesh is even more distant from a European perspective.
No, but that's what we are drawing your attention and want to get your views, because you are mentioned that Europe is concerned about the human rights and democracy, and these issues is very, very important to the Western world, and even any part of the world. So 5,100 of people are in jail of the opponent political party. Mostly secular voices have been detained and persecuted, and more than 3,000 girls and women have been raped, especially from minorities community, and try to exclude the political parties. Upcoming election might be in February, we don't know. Try to eliminate or exclude the major political parties who have supported, and even using judiciary to give them sentence. They already sentenced our legitimate Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina death sentence. This is unbelievable.
Yes.
She doesn't get any state defense, no defense. Even other ministers and people, they try to persecute them, and the field is clear, then they will arrange a one-sided election. So how you will view this what is your view on inclusive election and human rights violation, and detain more than 500,000 people in the jail?
Well, I have to say that most of this has been absolutely unexpected from a European perspective. So a lot of people in Europe have the view that if there is economic development, that brings with itself social and political development, countries become more advanced also in terms of the domestic arrangement. And when you see an upheaval like this, the violence erupting, the new power structure becoming so aggressive against political opponents, using methods which would not be acceptable in Europe or elsewhere in Asia. I mean, this is not the way to do politics. So I think the world is turning upside down, and the international community, broadly speaking, would need to pay more attention. Also, the neighboring countries, I suppose. India is very close, and and countries in South Asia maybe could have some closer cooperation for upholding the democratic standards.